Family, for the chosen ones, for the ones who are, living more so, with awareness than, pleasure and, instant gratification, yo. This world, yo, is set up for your eyes to catch things outside of you, yo. And that's why, you know, a lot of people, yo, when they buy things or they resume into things that they might not want to be, they just, do it still because the signs and the way shit is being shown to them, physically, yo. If your retina see it might perceive it in a different way for you to, be magnetized to it, yo, because you attract what you see and you attract what it is your soul finds fascinating, family? But as your life starts to build up, or, you may notice that every single day you start living, right? But you feel even more better, your mind might be more clear, but the energy, it might be days when you have high energy, yo, then there's gonna be days when you have no energy. But all you gotta do, y'all, is, just replay in your head what it is that, you must learn from, y'all, because, there's gonna be so much things in your reality, y'all, where you might not be able to keep up because the Most High is trying to show you something, or He might just want you to stay still, y'all, and embrace all the impact that comes your way. Because if you call yourself someone that wants light, yo, or you are a healer no matter what, even if you don't want to heal people because your aura or your presence is so highly righteous, yo, that it naturally is gonna heal others just by them entering, your vicinity, family. That's why you must take your energy very serious when it gets to a point to where you operate out of discipline, y'all, and not, live egotistically. Because I'm pretty sure, y'all, there was a point in your journey to where you adore something more than yourself, or you looked upon on somebody, right? Well, the more you stay on this journey, y'all, and you practice repercussion, daily reps, just keep going, and you get better because you are enjoying the process, right? Well, you will realize that you become your biggest inspirational coach, or just teacher, or financial aidance, family? Because you start to believe that through action, y'all, but a lot of people, once they reach a high, streak, y'all, or once they reach days to where they feel like life is, like walking on water, well, they get ahead of themselves, y'all, and they make decisions last minute wise, or it might, cause them to lose their identity, y'all. And what happens when you lose your identity, y'all? You regret decisions, making skills, or you regret taking action on anything. So I'm gonna remind y'all, family, it is important to use your mind, and protect that hoe. Look at your mind like a code, y'all, but a code that only you have to safe because your brain is a safe, y'all. And what you feed it, y'all, you are programming your subconscious, y'all, to focus on something that gives life force too. So you're either building up something by feeding it your energy, y'all, or you're gonna attract it to you over time because what you see is, all knowing because you're the creator of your reality, family. That's a lot for too much, especially if you don't even believe in yourself, y'all. A lot of people are nothing, right, y'all, because they have no desire or belief. So it is, very unfortunate, y'all, that a lot of people will not believe in this because they didn't work for it, y'all. So they just think naturally, y'all, they're supposed to feel, highly righteous and truly powerful from within. What makes you feel royalty, y'all, or makes you feel this dominance about yourself to where you go walk out and know, like, yeah, ain't nobody got shit on me, is the energy that's circulating through you. And, without you as you speak, y'all, because now that your body's being fed with energy, y'all, a source of alive. So you speak that outside of y'all, and you give everything else that aliveness, But this is how deep the rabbit hole gets, y'all. Once you start respecting your temple, once you realize that, all that matters is my presence, y'all. Because that's who I am, y'all, and who I'm talked about whenever I enter rooms, y'all. You may think that's not important, but that's literally who you are, because all you have is your energy, y'all. When you go out, y'all, whenever you create things, or whenever you just, want to try something for yourself, it involves your energy. That energy is felt, you know, throughout the world, no matter physically or, if you want to say on the internet, because your presence signifies who you are and what you state your claim as, So I remind you, the more you save on to, the discipline that you was, once you start working out, once you start eating healthy, or once you, focus on something that you see yourself doing long-term wise that's going to help you, well, all you have is time, so you have to get better at something, say somebody goes to work, or just say somebody, is being, a coach, or they have a business going, well, they get recognition, and they are gaining, knowledge over the years because they stay to something that they enjoy doing. That's what you must find, That's literally the most simplest thing to life. Once you find something you enjoy doing, you must find a way to make a fortune off of it. And then that's when your mind starts to think, wow, I can do anything I put my mind to. All you literally have to do, is not allow your mind to face doubt. And that's hard, because in this world, you're going to be faced to be around other people who are not going to have your will. Your will was built through fire, through pain, and through, regret. So don't let it be reflected by other people, You might encounter beings, who want to bring your goals down. Or they might just, not fulfill life, depending on how they are living around you. So that's why it is important to surround yourself literally with just your energy, Your energy is all you need, That's why God literally made you, You don't need nobody else, People think that, the attacks that come, they're unbearable. But what makes them unbearable, is you feeding into it too much with your attention, That's what you gotta cut off, Think of it like a lamp, The lamp, when it's on all day, everything around is shiny, you see it for what it is. But when the lamp cuts off, now you're back to the void. Now you're back to nothingness. That darkness that, it holds so many ideas. And when you get to that kind of stage in your journey, to where you realize you don't need nothing, then you made it. Because all it takes is for you to see it in yourself, without being there, But that's a lot to say, because a lot of people, they don't even like doing what the fuck they are, doing within their day-to-day, family. But this is something important to talk about, Yes, everybody wants to feel good within yourself, but that energy, it's like fire, Don't be, so quick to overthink or just, rely on things that's gonna not help you long-term jeopardy-wise, because your energy is the key to everything you're looking for, And that's why people say you want to hold your energy in, And this is how deep truly life goes, And that's why they keep this shit hidden from y'all, They don't want you to feel alive. They want you to feel draining. They don't want you to feel like, you're somebody that's coming up with thoughts. They want you to feed into what the fuck's already there, invent it, family, because it keeps your mind focus outside of you. You know, you will never find what you are good at. I repeat that, family. At anything, if you don't self-reflect on what you're doing now, yo, because it all starts with a change, and you must want that. You know, nobody can help you, and in order to get to this step, though, it takes energy, yo, because energy questions everything. You know, energy is how people treat you, yo. So once you have so much energy, yo, you enjoy the simple chats, or you know how when people pass you, you simply have good topics of discussions. You realize that back then, yo, people when they walked all over you, or they didn't like being around you and shit. Now they can't keep their eyes off you, or they want to walk and talk like you. That's because you changed internally before it showed externally, y'all. People picked up on the externally you. They never seen the within side of you. And that's why it baffles you. Or, they just can't perceive you in a way to where they feel like they know there's newer you. But it's not that you are newer. It's you chose yourself instead of worrying about everybody else and their problems, That's where people get it wrong, because all you did was get closer to your higher self, yo. You didn't change, The attacks that came, yo, you learn how to build up that energy, yo. So when the attacks came, all they did was hit a brick fucking wall. They didn't even get near your protection, yo, because that's what it takes, yo. It takes for you to focus and lock in on yourself, because if you don't have no tunnel vision, yo, you don't know where you're going, family. But this was a video, just know that when you walk out in this world, yo, you have an aura. It's either going to be small or gigantic. There's no good or bad about this, but when you have a high aura, it signifies protection. You feel more dominant about yourself, but it's quiet because you're not trying to be the best in the room. You're trying to be the best at what you are good at, and it shows when you are put to the test. You know what I'm saying? But that's why this challenge, it's not a challenge, y'all, but it's an endless journey that only the people that are truly seeking, higher power, higher, energy, and higher knowledge are going to truly take it, But don't worry about the text, y'all. Though you cannot do nothing about it, the Most High knew that, and that's why you were given an aura, and you were not only given it, but you were given it the ability to build it up so much to the point where ain't shit can't penetrate you, family. If you were to just focus in the present moment, because what you see, what you say, and what you believe is what will create, family. But I'll see y'all, family.